We're finally doing a podcast, dude.
We're here. Finally convinced me to do a podcast.
Why did it take so long to convince you to do a podcast?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just never been my thing. Never been out there in podcasts. Just I've been flying under the radar doing my thing. But, you guys kept pushing me over the past few meetings. And I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. If they think it's a good idea, why not?
I think about that all the time, right? Because there's so many talking heads in our industry. And it's just like, I don't want to become one, but it is just so much fun to do stuff like this.
I think it's cool, too, that we're doing it this way. Like you and I and the team and having conversations. I think it's cool. I think it's going to be a good first one, and, excited to see how it goes and all the ones that we do in the future, man. Should be fun.
Yeah, I never want to think about it that way, right? Like, it's like, I think people would like to hear our conversations and we get insight off of our conversations, but also that I don't want the ego to get that big that I'm like, yeah, no, people want to hear what I have to say,
Yeah, and I think that's probably a little bit of what stopped me from doing it as well. Like the people want to hear, what we have to say. And who cares? Like, and if it's just us having fun, a good time doing this, then it's good enough.
Yeah, it's a blast. So how do we get to this point? How's Alpine get started?
Oh man, how do we get started? Well, we got started at a very interesting time, right before COVID. So right around a few months right before COVID, it was just me and Christy, my wife, who was the director of sales right now, and yeah, prior to that, for a year I spent some time doing flips. Realized very quick that I hated flips. I hated managing projects. Just wasn't my thing. And I'm like, well, let me go back to my bread and butter, what I know what to do, which is wholesale. So we decided to, at that time, she was doing something else. She was doing, because she has a background in ballroom dancing. She's a professional ballroom dancer, as you know, and she started her own business. And once I decided to start this wholesale operation, I'm like, hey, do you want to make some real money? Do you want to start this together? Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, dancing to wholesale, that's a complete 180 right there.
It is. I mean, once I understood what she did, there is a lot of sales, there is a lot of communication. She was really good at it. She was really good at teaching, and she had some background in wholesaling for a little bit where we met. So I was like, what better person to do it with my significant other and try to build something? So. It worked out. It's a risk to start a business with your significant other, but it worked out. It was awesome, and it's
building an empire together. Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see it for sure. It's so funny too with that flip story. How many people we talk to, and I know I feel sometimes that way. I'll still flip a house occasionally, but I'm just like, it's not what it looks like on HGTV. It's not the glamour. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, some people love to do it. That's some people enjoy the whole process of designing the house and managing projects. But it's a different. I think what I realized, and when you first start a business, you don't realize what goes behind everything, and that I feel like that's its own business. It's its own operation. It's its own crew. It's its own team. You almost have to build a whole separate division just to do that. And then when I decided, like, what do I want to build? Do I build that, or do I build what I know what to do and what I'm good at? And I just decided to go that route.
Makes a lot of sense. It's a lot easier to push the paper in the wholesale world than it is to kind of manage all of those different elements. And it's just, if it's not for you, it becomes what's worth it,
Well, I think they're both difficult in their own ways. I mean, I talk to flippers all the time, and I see them, even people that we sell to, right? Mm-hmm. That they try to do lead gen and stuff, but it's, this business is its own beast. And it may be more difficult than flipping, because if you just get the deal, all you have to worry about is, rehabbing it, making it look pretty, put it on the market. There's a lot that goes into it, I'm sure. But like this business, to scale it up and get multiple deals and manage it and keep it, it's its own beast.
You have to be addicted. We're addicted to it. I mean, at the end of the day, like, people are like, oh, do you love what you do? I'm like, it's not even like a love at this point. It was just like, I'm addicted to this. There's no other way to put it.
I am addicted to this cat and mouse chase of just chasing deals and making deals happen. That's a good way to put it, yeah. It's just, I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I know it has its ups and downs. It's a transactional business, but to me, I feel like I was born to do this. So I love it.
Well, you think about that, and then you start your business in 2019. You're addicted to it. We love it. That was a pretty steady market back then. Then COVID hits. What shifted for you? Like, what was just, plan A when COVID happened? Like, what was the only thing that you were really thinking about?
Taking it back to when COVID first hit, I don't think anybody really knew what was going to
Okay.
happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really knew what COVID meant to the world, to the economy, to society. The media made it sound like the world was ending, you know.
Real
So
estate's done.
and if you talk to the majority of wholesalers, or not just real estate investors back then, it's like, hey, the market's gonna tank. I'm not buying anything. It's done. So what did I do? To be honest, I'm gonna be very transparent. I just paced back and forth for a week around the office trying to think of what I'm doing. You know, I was like,
Same.
what do we do? You know, we had some good so we thankfully, we when we started, you know, just like we do everything, just 100 miles. Like we're gonna go all in. So we got going pretty quick for the size of, you know, it was just me and her. So we actually built up a pretty good pipeline. We were wholesaling, you know, I think like at the time, what was that, like 4 or 5 months in, we got to the point where we're already wholesaling like 5, 6, 7 deals a month.
Okay.
And we had some pending deals. You know, we had a lot of pending deals. So I spent a lot of my time trying to get those, you know, and thankfully they all crossed the finish line. None of them fell apart. We may have, you know, we gave some buyers some credit, some concessions, but we made them all happen. And I remember at the time we had this monster deal. And because we didn't know what was going to happen, and we had to try to do something with it. My plan was at the time to close on it, trash it out, and just list it on the market. I know we can make a total lot of money. Then COVID happened. It's just let me sell it for whatever I can. So I undersold the fuck out of the deal for, you know, but but at the time it's just what was needed. I just needed to get it sold. We still made some money. But I remember that deal very, very vividly. And I remember once like the smoke cleared, like in 3 weeks after,
Hmm.
that buyers were calling us about that deal. I'll pay you. You know, I saw that deal that came out, but I was scared. I'll pay you 20 grand more for it and stuff like that. I was just like, whatever. We move on and, you know, we keep it going. But
Yeah.
after,
COVID.
I mean, the COVID thing, honestly, it was like a month, maybe a couple of weeks where it was very gray about, you know,
Hmm.
what was going to happen. Within a month, things got rolling again. And then and I never stopped marketing. I never stopped, you know, we never stopped doing our thing. It's not like we stopped operations. We just like,
Hmm.
we got to keep going. We got to find a way to make it work. Because nobody's marketing right now. Nobody's getting things on the contract. Nobody's selling anything. So we just kept it going. And then once that month passed, we were up and running and doing even better.
That was the benefit that a lot of us who stayed in it through COVID. I mean, you and I have both been doing this for almost a decade now. It's like when we stayed in it through COVID, it was just like we knew the other side of it, right? It was like the real estate market isn't going to die forever. It is going to come back. The people who are going to have the harder time kicking back up are going to be the ones that aren't staying steady through the storm, right? And that's, I think, something that we were scared about and maybe took for granted a little bit when we were in it. It was like, oh, what's going to happen? And then when we got through it, we were like, man, I'm really glad that we held on. We stayed strong through the storm, and we continue to kind of advertise, because for people like you and I, and we were in different shops back then, it was like, it was so important to still be around post COVID. And that's where we got so much business. I'm sure it was the same here.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. I knew I was going to keep going. I knew I was going to figure it out. That's just the way that
Yeah.
my mind works. But nobody. I don't. I mean, maybe some people did, but nobody saw that what was coming. Like that the government was going to drop the rates of what they did. Nobody saw. Nobody thought that all this money was going to be printed. Was just going to create this wave of appreciation and demand and all that stuff. I don't think anybody guessed that was going to happen. That was just, you know, that's what happened, and we all capitalize on it.
Everybody took advantage. It was a good
Yeah,
time. It
yeah,
was 21 and 22, they're unicorn years for me. That's really
yeah.
what I like to call them. Is like, you're not going to see them again. I don't think, I don't know your opinion on it, but for me, I don't think interest rates are going to get to that level ever again, or I don't think I'll see them in my lifetime,
No,
barring some huge economic shift.
no, I was a black swan. You know,
Yeah, that's another
it,
way.
it's
Yeah, it's a great way to put
yeah,
it.
it's that was something that COVID has never happened in the history of maybe it has, like maybe pandemics has happened, but not in my lifetime. We never seen something like that, so it was hard to predict, you know, what was
Yeah.
going to happen. Um, and yeah, I don't think we're going to see those interest rates and you know that type of maybe the demand will kick back up and stuff like that, but not to the point of like it was stupid. I mean, it was things were selling in a day. Our wholesale deals were, our average wholesale deal was like 30K, which in
Mhm.
some markets that's still normal right now, but in our market and what we were doing, that wasn't, we
No.
went from averaging maybe 15, 16 to averaging a $30,000 wholesale deal because of the demand from investors. We could overprice things, and literally an email and a text, would sell the deals, and you would have multiple buyers ready to go. So it was a crazy time.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, to your point, I knew that wasn't normal. So I knew that this was just something to take advantage of, but not build my business around
Mhm.
what was happening. Almost like don't build your business, on a house of cards. Because like if this goes away, then what do you do? And I think that you asking me the question about how Alpine kept growing, I think that we built a good foundation. Sales, marketing, dispo, buyer relationships, doing the right things. And at that time, a lot of people were doing a lot of other stuff because of the market. They were
Mhm.
selling to hedge funds, and they were selling
Mhm.
to they were buying things for prices that didn't make sense just because they knew the appreciation next month would cover whatever they overpaid, and we just never did that. I did sell
Mhm.
to some hedge funds, I did some stuff, but I still kept the core of the business, the core of the business. So when things shifted back to the interest rates going up, did it hurt us? It hurt everybody, right? Because then now you don't have a $30,000 assignment fee. Maybe it went
Yeah.
down to 20, but we still had our buyers, we still had our process, we still knew how to sell, we still knew how to buy cheap and deep. And I tell these people all the time. I mean, what's the magic pill? It's like just buy them cheaper, sell them cheaper, and like
Yeah.
just keep it going.
Yeah. Work,
So
work, work as hard as you can, as much as you can. Buy them deeper, and yeah, I like that. Buy them deeper and sell them cheaper.
that just is magic pill. It's like, oh, what do you do? How does it work? And it's just buy them cheaper, sell them cheaper, bro. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
there's
That's
no
that really is
let's not
it.
over don't overcomplicate it. That's what we do.
And I think sometimes people complicate it because it's real estate, and I'm like, it's really sales and marketing. It is put out the right. It's a pay to play. Put out the right amount of money for the right amount of dollars. You get the right amount of return if you have the right process. It's sales and marketing all day.
Yep, yep. And the people that didn't do that, and I'm not saying we did it perfect, but we did. I think we had a good foundation that kept us alive and kept us growing. So we never had a dip. We never lost money through the time. We actually kept growing. 2021, 2022, 2023, we did more in 2023 than 22. Like even in the interest rate hike, we still grew. We still did better because we had a good foundation. There was a time where I was part of this, mastermind group,
Hmm.
and I think I told you a story in the past. Long story short, everybody looked like a genius, in 2021, 2022. There's
I felt
stories
like
where
one,
how,
you know.
yeah, like, oh, we're buying things for, 95% of ARV and selling it to hedge funds for
Yeah.
this, and they built their business 6 months later, or whenever that time from happened, from that meeting to the next meeting where the interest rates went up, it felt like a funeral, in those rooms. Everybody was just like, I fired my team, I don't know what to do, blah blah blah. I was like, well, it's if you thought this was going to last forever, then
Listen, I won't. I
over.
won't lie. Where we were, it was a lot of the same. We had a larger infrastructure. I think we had 115 people at the peak, and that was amazing, and it was a great ride. But yeah, sitting on that ride, I was going. A lot of this I know is us, but a lot of this I know is the market, and I'm a little afraid that if we just continue to bet that the market's going to stay this way forever, we're going to become the next Japan. Interest rates are going to live at 2%. I just didn't see it. I didn't see that future. And I just also couldn't see how the affordability wasn't going to kick in eventually. It was going to become an issue. Things were just getting too expensive too fast. And we learned a lot of great lessons. And looking back on it, I'm so grateful for the times because you get to learn so much in adjusting from such a hot market into just how do I build a good foundation again. But yeah, I mean, I rode the roller coaster hard, and I remember what that was like.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, to your point, because you were in a different, in a different company at the time. I think, you can speak to the fact that you guys built something based on the appreciation and what was happening, and it was kind of hard to come back from. Like,
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, we had a lot of overhead that was rolling the dice on the continuation of the market. Seeing that rocket scale. The goal at the time was a different type of business model. Like it was about how do we create this rapid growth thing to be basically create an exit. That was a big conversation in 21 and 22. And then I think looking back at it, I'm like, that's not what I believe this business. You can build this business for the long haul. You can build this business to be something that not only changes your life, but changes the life of the people inside of it. And I think that's how I found you guys, right? Is just, how do I become a part of a place where that's the vision for the business rather than just let's try to be the next IPO, right?
No, for sure. I agree. Conversations, I've heard over the years conversations of people selling wholesale businesses and
Yeah.
selling them to bigger companies. I just, I find it hard to, because we're a transactional business and I've heard it happen, but I mean, those were never, those were never my intentions to start in this company,
Yeah.
to build something, to sell it. I think I love this, like starting this conversation. I love what we do. I think we can grow it to be something even greater than what it is right now. Bigger. I'm not saying bigger just to be big, but like bigger in a better way, to impact more
Yeah.
people, to have impact more employees, to have a bigger impact in the communities and keep doing what we're doing on a bigger scale. And that's a vision, let's take this thing to the moon, in a good way, so.
I think about that all the time. And that was one of the reasons that attracted me to come work here, was that it was all about the help that we do. I think a lot of people are like, oh, they're pushing paper, they're making money on other people's money. And I never loved that reputation that some wholesalers got, because it's like, that's not what we're doing. We're talking to people in some of their toughest moments. They are using the only asset they have to get themselves out of that problem. And the traditional way, the traditional market, the traditional real estate, it doesn't solve their problem. They can't do it that way. So when you're stuck, where do you go? And you go to a place like us, and we really do want to help. And I think that that's really the difference.
Yeah, yeah, and not to beat a dead horse, with you saying that makes me think that at that time, 21 and 22, there wasn't that problem solving. We weren't
Mm-mm.
solving people's problem. People
We
were
didn't have
just
to.
buying
So
things
easy.
they were buying things at retail and selling it over retail. So there was no problem solving. There was no sales involved. There was no
Mhm.
understanding how to problem solve. It was just get something under contract and a hedge fund or somebody will overpay for it. And so that the core essence of the business was, for a lot of people, was lost. The
Mhm.
core is like, that we help people with issues. We help them find a solution. We help them. They sell their property, and I think that's not what was happening at that time. So
Well, I
yeah.
mean, it was, the appreciation was crazy. I mean, just starting in 2016 to by 2021, I was wholesaling deals where they ARV'd 5 years per year. Like, if it was worth 150 in 2016, I was wholesaling it at 150, distressed for it to be worth 250, 300. And that was a great deal. And it was just like, I remember buying these houses for 40 grand. Like, how is this sustainable in 60 months? I don't see how that's going to be possible.
Yeah, and you expect appreciation, but at that
Mhm.
time it was something nuts. I don't know the stats, so don't quote
Yeah,
me on this, but it felt like 20% appreciation of month over month. It felt
it really
something like
did.
it felt like something insane. So,
And we had
and that
investors talking about that too. Like, oh yeah, I'm buying, it's 350 ARV now. By the time I'm done with the flip in 3 months, it'll be 375. It's like, what?
yeah, yeah, it was nuts.
It was
It was
crazy.
nuts. It was
So
nuts.
grew the business 21, 22, obviously went into 23. You had a solid foundation. That's what helped kind of the core. We've grown now 23, 24, and 25. Continued that growth. A lot of people just want to ask the general question, right? Like, how? When there was so much struggle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to your point, there's also struggle. There's struggle in every business.
Oh, of
Everybody
course.
everybody faces the same. Everybody in
There's
the
always
industry faces,
adversity.
but we are all facing the same thing, So, but it's and you can talk about it, right? Because now you've been working with me. I think our ability to adapt and adjust. Like I don't
Yeah.
stand still. I try to, and I'm big on contingency planning.
Hmm.
Like how do we prevent future problems from happening, and how do we find the future constraints or what constraints to try to solve those. And we just and it started with leadership, leading from the front. The conversations in our team were never like, oh, the market's bad, hey guys, it's just
Hmm.
like, no, we are badasses, we know what we're doing, and we're going to make it happen no matter what market, upside down, sideways, whatever's going on. We're going to make it work.
Hmm.
And that's me as the leader. I'm telling you, we're going to make it work. So if you
I can
trust
vouch for
me,
everybody watching. I can vouch.
yeah,
She's the Energizer Bunny at the front,
yeah,
no doubt.
it's just what it is. It's just like if like I tell people all the time, listen, if I don't make it work, don't ever talk to me again. Go work something. But I'm telling you, like we're gonna make it work no matter what happens. I'm not gonna let the market dictate our success. We are
No.
going to adapt and adjust and make it work. And there was a quote that I read in a book recently that I didn't read it back then, but it makes sense. So he said that if the rate of change outside of your business is bigger than the rate of change inside of your business, you're going to go out of business.
Yeah.
So It's internal. To me, it's all internal. Like when we do well, it's internal what we did. If we do bad, it's not the market, it's this internally. We failed to execute something. We stopped following our process. It's all internal. So I don't look at the outside. I always look, what are we doing to get the results that we need? And if we didn't get the results that we need, is on us, not whatever's going on out there.
Yeah, I think that that's a really important ownership to take. If you're a business owner of any type, is you can't look at the external factors. You can take them into consideration. You can understand that they're going to have an impact that's going to be inevitable, but it's not in your control. And I think we say that time and time again, is just control your controllables. If you're going in there every single day and doing the work and putting your head down and doing what you need to do and always trying to figure it out and not letting a bad week or a bad month define you and continuing to always just improve your process and change within inside your organization to grow, I think you'll always at least find a steady level of success.
For sure. For sure. Absolutely. And it's just, to answer your question again, like how is just adapting and adjusting, leading from the
Mm-hmm.
front, rolling up your sleeves. At some points in that time, I'm sure I was in the front lines, helping close deals, helping people, elevate their game, how to buy deals cheaper, how to, hopping into trainings, hopping in the dispo trade, building out a very solid dispo um outlet, and a dispositions department to because dispositions wasn't a focus for anybody during those times. And we started building our dispositions department, like the right processes, how to find the buyers, how to find new buyers, and a lot of things. I was just like I am right now. Like it doesn't change, but I was all over. I was in the weeds, and because everybody sees it and it comes from a good place and it comes from love, but it comes from accountability, everybody follows and everybody feels the energy. And nobody in our company really felt that we were in a bad market. I'm not trying to say that because our company, but I didn't communicate that message, if
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's just it's something we can't control. It's basically the storm outside, but we have stuff we can do inside to make sure that we weather the storm. And I think just being here for 5 months, I've already seen that. In right now isn't. I don't think anybody or any headlines that I read says this is one of the greatest real estate markets we've ever seen, right? Like no one's saying that. But I don't feel that. I don't feel like I work in a bad market every day. I just feel like there's an opportunity with a challenge in front of us. Let's just tackle
Yeah, yeah. And for a lot of people, 2025 has been one of their worst years, unfortunately. And I don't wish anybody bad luck, but for us, it hasn't.
it. No.
Thankfully, but it has come from a lot of hard work. We have had our challenges, we have had our moments that we have to adapt and adjust, but we move quickly. It's like, let's just not stay stuck on the fact that this is happening. Let's just, what's the constraint? How do we remove the constraint? What do we need to do? Is it a person? Is it a system? Is it a process? And that's what we do. And kind of like, kind of that led up to it. What was my constraint at some point? It was capacity. I was the integrator and visionary. And what was my constraint? I had to find someone to come in and help me, and Shane came along.
Well, that's how I got here. Is how do you? But before we jump into that, how do you find that balance, which I think a lot of owners struggle with, and it's a question I ask myself too. I want to be able to change and pivot with the world around me, and I want to make sure that my business continues to grow and evolve. But when I make changes, how long and how patient am I going to be before I wait to see those changes come to fruition? Because that's what I always struggled with too, even as a high executive leader in my previous shop, is like we tried something new, we got to give it time.
It's a good question. And let me think how to answer that, because I think there's different levels of like problems and constraints. If sometimes there are like very simple things that you could do that will immediately get great results. Sometimes it's that we're missing, like, hey, it could be a sales process. Like, right, our sales process has different parts, and like we just stop doing this part of the process. If we just start doing that again, we're gonna see results immediately. So it's just, let's hold everybody accountable to do this part of the process every single time, and then you see results, sooner rather than later.
Mhm.
There's other things like marketing and change of marketing and things like that does take time. Those are things that you're not going to see right away. If we're shifting the audience that we're going to, if we're shifting the marketing channels to better our business, those do take time,
Yeah.
and you are taking a little bit of a gamble, a calculated gamble. But those, you have to be able to write it out for uh, 3 to 6 months to really see the results. And yeah, you have to be patient and you have to be confident in decisions that you make. If you make a decision and you think this is the right decision for the business, You have to empower everybody and make sure that everybody in the team is aligned, everybody's bought in, and because I can't make a decision and make everybody do it, and
Mm,
make everybody just do the thing. Everybody has to be aligned. Everybody has to believe that this is the right thing to do. And when you get everybody on board and everybody's aligned, then everybody kind of goes all in with you.
mhm. That's so huge because, and you also have to give them the freedom to say if they're not, and I think that that's something that we really do a great job. You really lead from the front there with that too, of like fostering. I don't want you to tell me yes because it came out of my mouth. Like, I want you to push back. I want you to challenge. I want to hear a different perspective. I want us to be on the same page. We may not agree when we make a final decision, but when we walk out of a room, we're all going to be on board.
1000%.
Yeah, I think that that's huge. So yeah, the business grew. We continued to scale. And when did you go, I need somebody else? I need a COO. I need that. I don't even use the word help because that suggests that like you might have been struggling, right? It was more along the lines of like, I know that that's the next step.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I've been around certain masterminds and read books, and I've always said, a COO, it's a position that you must fill at some point. I thought it was like this mystical position that was going to be almost impossible to fill, to be honest, because there's a lot to it, right? Like somebody that can complement, what I'm not good at, somebody that I get along with, somebody who has the same values, somebody that I can see leading, the same way, that agrees with the vision, that has the same, core values. So it's something that was in the back of my mind for years, to be honest, but I just didn't know how to go about it. So, but I will say, my vision has always been big for the business, and my vision is always like, how do I make the pie bigger for everybody? And the more that I wanted to do, and the more that I was doing, I found myself doing a lot, doing a bunch of things. I was the one implementing. I was the one creating the ideas. I was the one kind of helping removing the constraints from every department. And my vision never got blurry because my vision was always big. What got blurry is like, how do I, I'm at this point now, we're doing well, but how do I double this now without, with me doing
Can't
all
double
these things?
you.
Like I feel like I was like, I have my constraint now is my capacity.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and it was a little blurry. Like, how do I take it to the next level without more help, And that help at the time, I didn't even know if was it a COO, was it that I just need to hire more? I just, I was a little unclear. It's like, how do I remove myself from some of these things so I can have more time to keep driving forward and not be in the day to day, problem solving. Not that I don't do that now, but just removing every constraint from the department, making all the big decisions and doing all these things. It was just a lot. So at some point, I realized that like, okay, like my vision's still there. We are gonna keep growing, but I'm gonna have to find something, somebody, hire somebody. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I need something else to be able to take it to the next level because my capacity is maxed out.
But that takes a lot of internal work too to be able to kind of recognize that. I know I worked with a lot of CEOs. Obviously, been number two to multiple different CEOs now so far in my career. It's, probably my favorite role, to be honest. You all have a lot of similarities, but I think for you specifically, it was like you were so honest with yourself about, I know my capacity and I know that I'm about at that point, and to help grow the business, I really need somebody else to come along. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that because just by nature, we're so just, I want to go, and it starts to become, how do I delegate? But how do I trust that the person I'm delegating to is going to do it the way that I know I would want it done? And that takes a lot of research and really digging into yourself too, and understanding that about who you are.
1000%. Yeah. And not only that, there's just certain things in the business that, I was doing them, and I feel like I can, I can't do everything, but I can do most things in this business from A to Z, because I know every department. But there's some things I just don't enjoy. There's some things that I'll do it, but I'm probably not the best person to be doing these. Like these drain me. These take like a lot of mental energy from me. Once I do these things, like I'm almost fried for the rest of the day. So it's almost, yeah, there's certain things in the business that I'm like, somebody will find joy doing these. Somebody will find yeah, exactly. Organizing these things and creating these processes and aligning these things and putting them into place. So there was just not just that I need help, but there's just some things that, somebody else is better at me than doing some of these things that I'm doing. And somebody can probably do them a lot better and get way better results and do them a lot quicker. And I don't have to, not that I don't have to worry about it, but I don't want to worry about them. I don't really
Yeah.
want to hear about those things.
That was such an eye-opening moment for me too, especially when you look at our predictive index. And for those of you who don't know what predictive index is, just personality mapping essentially. But your your chart and my chart are polar opposites. And a lot of people think, well, that's not somebody similar. But I'm like, well, that's the yin to the yang element that you really want to look for, is like, you just kind of hit that point right on the head perfectly. It's like, I can do it. I don't like to do it. So if it's your, and you use this term all the time, if it's your genius zone, go be in your genius zone. That's not mine. And I know that you're better suited for that. I think that that's just a huge eye-opening moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, 1000%. That recognizing like where my genius zone was, and where I should be was one of the biggest factors on, and us starting to have those conversations. Because we knew each other. We knew each
Yeah.
other from a decade ago, but not to the extent that we know each other now. We knew each other
Yeah.
because we were around the same environment, but obviously you have gained a ton of experience over the past decade doing what you did, and by the grace of God, we got connected randomly, and we had conversations, and we just started, we started having conversations, and I mean, I'll like you to talk about it. Like, what was the interview process like? It was I just had, we just had like I think like 15 hours on Zoom, just me like talking to you
Yeah.
and asking you questions, and
For the longest time, I couldn't figure it out. Like, I was like,
yeah,
because I was consulting at the time, so it was like,
yeah,
okay, is he trying to hire me, like, just to be a consultant? Like, does he want to bring me on full time? Like, and I'm very big about, I like to check my ego a lot. I don't like to be too assumptive. So I didn't want to be like, oh, he wants to make me the COO. Like, that's definitely where he's going. Like, and I don't think that way. So for a lot of times, it was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out where he's going. And then I think it kind of turned into a friendship. Like, I wasn't even charging you for time or anything. Like, it wasn't necessarily something that I was like, oh, like, I just enjoy talking. And I think that point you said about values and kind of that foundation of our relationship, it was like, we were very aligned on how we looked at the world. We were very aligned on like what it meant to have faith. We were very aligned on what it meant to kind of be a better person before you're building a rock star business. It's so important to build a rock star business, but it's more important to be a better person and be a better father and be a better husband. And those alignment things just made me feel really comfortable. And then when we started talking about work, you were like, hey, I have these ideas. And I was like, that's the shit I love to talk about. And you were like, hey, I want to do this. What's your perspective on this? And I was like, that's how I think it should be done. And it should have been done the whole time. And it frustrates me when other people don't do it that way. And there was a lot of that alignment. And I felt that really, really early on. And I was like, man, it's cool to work here. And then because I had moved, one of the other people, got into Vixabios, one of the guys that had come over here, he loved it. He had said great things about it. I was just like, man, this feels already like I've already started working here, and we're just having, yeah, like I think about 15 hours of Zoom calls by that point. And once I met the directors, I was like, oh, he's not having me come on board as a consultant. He's having me meet them to see if his team likes me. And then that's when it started to click. And our directors are awesome. I mean, we are so blessed and so lucky from every single person. I mean, I've never, and that's what doing these interviews has been so fun. I've never seen a company where it's like, oh no, they actually love working here, and they're not just saying it because their boss is asking them. They genuinely care about the success of this place, not only for what it does for them personally, but what it creates for all of us as a team. And I think that's so rare. So when you were like, yeah, I want the job, what did I give you an answer in like a second, 2 seconds?
yeah,
Something
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, I want you to be COO. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think it was like, one of those Zooms, and I was just straight up at the end. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
Shane, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I think you know where this is going.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about the idea of coming on board?
Yeah.
I just did it straight up, and you're like, yeah, I would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Uh,
You don't want to seem too eager. You don't want to seem like, oh, I'm
yeah,
desperate, but it
yeah,
was just like, and for me too, because it was a really tough adjustment from going from working for a larger shop, being there 65, 70 hours a week in person, to then moving. I changed states. I went to a fully remote environment. I was a remote consultant. That was giving me enough to do, but I still felt like I had that drive for more. And then it was like, do I want to go on board to a full-time remote company? And just meeting you and having our conversations and meeting the rest of the team, I was like, this doesn't feel remote. Like, I feel like I'm working and they're just in the office next to me. They're not, and we have some people all the way in Oregon. We have some Filipino team members as well. Like we have people all over the globe, and it doesn't feel like that. And I think that was like once I saw that, I was like, yeah, culture first, environment is really where I want to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously, listen, the success of our company is directly correlated to our team members. All our team members are
Oh,
rock stars.
100%.
From acquisitions to admin to Dispo to TC, they're all the reason why we are where we are. And yeah, and we made it a big point over the years of how do we make, even though we're remote and virtual, how do we stay connected? How do we make sure that we have a great culture? And I don't know, I don't talk to too many other people that have virtual teams, but I would say that we probably have one of the best cultures, in not just in person or virtual, just in general.
Yeah.
We have a culture of hustlers. We all do our job until it gets done. We have fun. We help each other out. We're not afraid to make mistakes. We lead from the front. We get in the weeds when we need to.
Hmm.
And yeah, no, that's one of the reasons we are where we are, because of our team members. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. And what was your first thought when I first asked you? I know you said yes, but like, what went through your mind when I asked you? It's like, hey, would you want to come on board?
So two things. The first was like finally, like
Yeah,
because I'm a team guy, so
yeah,
I love being a part of a team, and I was very blessed to work with a lot of great clients, and I felt a part of their team, but it never felt 100%. It felt like, hey, I'm here when I'm here, and I'm not when I'm not, and I am somebody that really just gets really invested. So that first reaction was just like, yes, I'm back on a team. I'm back on a full-time roster. Like, I'm a big sports guy. Like that made me feel good. The second was just so much opportunity, I think would be the best way to put it. It was just, I had already seen what you had done with the business. It was something that was already headed in that trajectory with or without me. So to be able to come in and to just offer the things I love to do, right? The things that you don't love to do, the things I love to do as my expertise, and come in and help kind of grow that was just exciting. So I was just so excited about that opportunity. I was like, man, there's gonna be so many things to go do. It's work. Don't get me wrong. Like it's a lot to go do, but the benefits and the rewards that I immediately got out of it was just, you couldn't beat it. So I was just so excited for that opportunity to just be like, yeah, I got a lot to do. And that's, I think, such a fun feeling, because a lot of times people see their work and they're like, oh, got this stack of things I got to go accomplish. And I didn't feel that at all. I was like, there's just so many things we can go pull levers on that help us grow 20, 30%, get team members better organized. All of those things can happen so quickly. And I knew that you were on board to just, yeah, I trust you. Let's go integrate. That was just a cool feeling. And I was like, this is just going to be a tremendous opportunity.
yeah, yeah. And it's funny, and I think I've told you. I think part of our never-ending Zoom meetings, that we had. I think at the same time, and I think I told you, I'm also trying to make sure I'm making the right decision. And obviously, I had a good feeling. I'm, you know me, I make a lot of decisions based on faith as well, and
Mhm.
obviously logic, and believe in God. And I just thought there was an alignment there, that God was presenting an opportunity, but I also want to make sure I'm doing things the right way. So as I was talking with you, I started reading that book that I told you about, Second in Command. It's because I never hired a COO. Like, I never, like, I know I need somebody, like, but how do I know if it's the right fit? How do I onboard them? What is that? So I think that book gave me a lot of clarity too on, like,
Mhm.
what to ask you, like what things to cover. And it all aligned perfectly. Like you said, the yin and the yang. What you
Yeah.
like to do, it's not necessarily what I like to do. We complement each other very well. We have the same values. We both understood that this was going to be like a process. There's going to be a lot of hard work. It's not going to be overnight. Um, but we both, agreed on the vision and what we could turn this into, and grow and
Mhm.
grow this even bigger. Um, so yeah, it was a very cool process. And I remember one day, because we kind of agreed, and you kind of said, yeah, yeah, like, it's kind of like we agreed, and we kind of left it vague a little bit.
Yeah,
And then I
a little bit.
remember I remember just like, just one of those days where I was doing one of my meditations or praying and thinking about it. I'm like, what the fuck am I waiting for? Like, what are we, like, are we gonna wait like another 12 Zooms? And I remember I'm like, hey, bro. I remember I text you, hey, bro, you have an hour, you have some time at 4 o'clock, and you're like, yeah.
I
And
had a
I
lot
was
of
just
time.
like, yeah, yeah. And I was just like, all right, Shane. Listen, bro, I don't know what we're waiting for. Like, I want to offer you the job. Like, you want to come on board and we start in 3 weeks. I was just like, let's just do it. What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
And
I'm
we,
glad we did it that way too, because
yep.
the timing of everything we've implemented in the last, and it's crazy to say that like I've only worked like 5 months, because it's just like already the steps we've taken in those 5 months. It's testament to what you talked about earlier. It's like if the rate of change is not faster inside versus outside, like you're screwed. And I think we are at a very like the summit, so to speak, of the AI mountain, the tech change mountain, the CRM mountain. Like I think there are so many things that we're currently at the summit of that you were like, fuck it, put on our boots, let's start climbing. And we really saw that happen quickly. And I love that.
Yes, yes. No, and you came on board, and we did, and we planned it out, right? And we had we did it the right way. We had a 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Mm-hmm. Some of
And I
that got
think we
done.
talked,
Most of that
yeah,
got
and
done.
we talked about it the other day, and it was
Yeah.
a very good plan. And I think to be realistic for somebody onboarding another CEO, maybe it's different for somebody else, but 75% of that got done. That was a good game plan. The other 25% was that we talked about, like shifting, adapting, adjusting as the business needs it. You know?
That was such a huge learning lesson for me too, coming into a new organization, because you don't realize like you can only get so much exposure until you're basically in the deep end, so to speak. Like, so as a consultant, I had an idea on some of the things you wanted to work on. I had an idea of some of the constraints you may have voiced to me, but then it was like, well, once I'm in it and working, I see this, I see this, I see this, I see this, right? It's like when you go to visit, I told somebody the other day, I was like, it's like when you go to visit a house you're about to buy. When you walk through, you understand the layout, you know where the bedrooms are, you can explain it to your friends over pictures how it works. When you live in it for 3 months, all of a sudden you know all the little quirks about the house, and you start to learn the different things you want to fix first or fix second, or you're like, oh, I didn't even know this feature existed. This is really cool. I love this. Those are the things. And I just learned something new yesterday about our intro call process with the TCs, that I was like, I have a lot of questions here. And it was like just getting that exposure time and time again, living in it full time. I think that really, it changed my perspective of if I were to go do this again, right? It was like my 30, 60, 90, there would be a lot more space or grace for discovery, for seeing things in the moment and then having a conversation with you and being like, do we want to attack this? Do we want to challenge this? Is this something we want to talk about now? Talk about in 6 months. And I think that's what I didn't really anticipate as much as I probably should have in those first 90 days.
Yeah, yeah, for the both of us, right? Because it's a
Yeah.
new
New
relationship,
experience.
and but we both agreed. I think that was one of the biggest things. We both agreed, because I told you, I'm like, listen, I am a workhorse. We're gonna make this work. We are gonna make this happen. I am going to trust you, and I'm gonna help you onboard you into the team as best as I can. But let's both not be naive and think that this is gonna be an easy ride. As
No.
long as we're both on the same page that this is work, that this is a hustle, that we're gonna have to get through some humps together, and we're gonna have each other's back, and we're gonna have the team's back, and and all that. I think that alignment as well was huge. The fact that we both knew, we looked at each other's eyes, and we knew it's like, hey, things are not gonna go perfect, and that's okay.
It's gonna be a
So
grind. For those of you that aren't in wholesale, or if you're just getting into it, it's a great industry. You love it, but you're gonna work your ass off. But it is absolutely a grind. I don't know. I've always been this way. The good stuff comes after the hard stuff. Like I tell my daughters that every single day, right? Whether it's in a workout, they're running in the yard, they don't want to clean up their room, whatever it is. It's like the good stuff comes after the hard stuff. And I think if you have that mentality, no matter what business you're in, but especially this one, you're going to have a better experience. It's going to be a better time for you, because you're going to sit back and you're going to be like, okay, this is hard, but I expected this to be hard. Hormozy talks about that all the time. It's like one of my favorite lines from him. It's like, yeah, it's hard, but I knew it was going to be hard, so it's okay that it's hard.
yeah, it's okay. It is hard because if you don't, if it'd be naive to think that it's gonna be easy. It's that cliche saying, if not everybody would be doing it. But the hard is good, because when you get to the hard part, it's like, okay, like I'm here, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm pushing the envelope a little bit, and here's where we grow. And I think we did something in our initial onboarding, getting together. I think was done well, to an extent. Like the
Mhm.
first 30 days was a lot of just like, hey, let's not change a ton of things. Let's just
Mhm.
just go be everywhere. Go be a fly on the wall in every meeting.
Yeah.
Go look at everything you want. Go talk to anybody. Go talk to every team member. Go be in the sales training and the TC meetings, and just be a fly on the wall, and take notes, and whatever you see, whatever needs adjustment, like we'll we'll attack it. I knew there was one or two things that we knew that we wanted to change right away.
Mhm.
We did those one or two things, but for the rest of the first 30 days was just like, let's have you observe and, and see what you think and what you think, could be improved and what departments need some changes and things like that. And I think that worked out very
That
well.
was it was the best decision that we made, I think, in those first 30 days. It was, and I think it helped me garner a lot of trust with the team. It was like, I am not coming in here to be a tornado. I'm coming in here to just watch how you do it, because you're the one who does this job every day, and I promise you, you know how to do it better than me because you do it every day. It's just my job to look at the macro and figure out how I can connect it and make things flow a little bit better. But I can't even tell you how to do that until I watch what you do, until I learn how you're doing it, until I see what works and what doesn't. And then my only job there is just to provide perspective. It's not to say we have to change this or we have to change that. It's like, no, I see this. This could be another way to look at it. Do we want to consider that? Do we want to make that change? Are you on board with it? I think that's the other huge part. Everybody's got to be, I see the vision, I understand, I'm locked in on it, and we're rowing in the same direction.
1000%. And obviously I had a lot of ideas. I still have a lot of ideas, and then we bounce them, off each other. You tell me what, we can't do. Like, hey, this is, you know, there's a little bit, too much tech work here. We may need to get somebody involved. We need so, and I'm also, I think, maybe a lot of CEOs have a lot of like shiny object syndrome, and I don't
Mm.
think I do. Like, I think I obviously have a lot of ideas and things that I want to implement, but I'm also not trying to chase all these things all the time. I do have ideas, but there's, instead of 20, maybe there's a few, and you kind of help me filter, what's important and what we can do right now. It's easy to implement, and what's like, hey, like, we can probably put this to the side and look at it in 30 days and 90 days and things like that. And, we get alignment in those things as well.
Yeah, I was talking to Nikki, my wife, about that. About just like, it's not, you're not like, hey, let me chase a different direction with shiny object
Mhm.
syndrome. It's like, hey, I see this efficiency and this efficiency and this efficiency, and it's just more about like, okay, let's do it. Let's do them in the right consecutive order. And it's okay if you see this efficiency now, but because we got, 10 other ones we're trying to work on, it's okay if that doesn't get done until 30 days, 60 days, 90 days out. So that's honestly been refreshing, because it's sometimes it's, "No, I came up with that idea, now let's do it now." And sometimes if we don't do it now, we forget. And I think you and I are really, really disciplined about that. It's like, we're not forgetting, we're just understanding that everything comes at the right time. Right.
Mhm.
Uh, I think Jeff Bezos talked about that one time. He was like, hey, I had a COO come to me and he's like, you have enough ideas to kill Amazon. And it was just like, he was like, no, no, I had to slow that down, and that I had to just basically structure my ideas and trust that if I have an idea now, but it comes to fruition in 2 years, that's okay. And that's where the business needs to go for it to work in 2 years. And I think that that's something that has to be learned. And you do a great job at that.
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And I'm also trying to serve as to, because we do a lot, right? And we're doing a lot of projects and things like that. And it's just like, hey, like, sometimes we thought we were going to accomplish these three things, but we realized that this one thing is more important. It's taking way more time than we thought, and it's just like, that's okay. Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you're doing a lot. We're focusing on this one thing. These two things can sit in the back for now, and let's just focus on this.
Yeah, you're
There's
better at
only
that
the
than I am. Sometimes,
yeah,
sometimes I'm like, no, 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 we had a deadline. Like, I'm a deadline guy. I was like, no, no, I show up 15 minutes early to everything in life. If we have a deadline, we have a
yeah,
deadline. But it is nice to kind of, because then it's not, I can put all the pressure on myself internally, right? But there's not that external pressure. And I think that's really important for a relationship, is that we realize that we're team members in this, and it's not about like, just get the job done because I want it. And I think that's, if for anybody that's looking to bring on somebody to be that partner and an executive, it's just like, you have to both feel that way, and it can't be a competition. I have zero interest in competing to do what you do, and I know you have zero interest in competing to do what I do. And I think that's such an important element.
yeah, yeah. And I think you've noticed that about me, right? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes people
Oh
will tell
yeah.
me, say, do you want to know what we did in the tech and the back end? I'm like, not really.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, I don't, I don't
does,
care.
does it
Does it
work?
work?
Does
Does
it
the
work?
button
Yeah,
click?
that's awesome.
Yep.
It's like,
Perfect.
it's
Like, oh
like,
yeah, here's the log. Here's all this. You're like, I don't know.
it's
I
like,
don't want. I don't,
yeah, no. Does it work? Cool. That's awesome,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, that came into the culture a lot too, right? It's just like, I love stories. I love to tell stories. So it's like, I
Hmm.
hear the stories, and then I give like basically the quick Cliff Notes version right back up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was good. It was good because, like, now you understand how I, like,
Mhm.
you are like, talk about PIs, right? You're very social. You like to talk. And I'm like, what is that? My A? Like, what is the top one? In the it's
Independence.
off the
Yeah, yeah.
charts. Yeah, it's
Collaborative
off the charts.
independence.
I'm like off the charts, like super independent, don't need to talk to people about it. So like you start learning that like when you bring this stuff to me, it's like I'm gonna give you like the cliff notes, of like the end result. And I was like, perfect, like
Yep.
that's great. That's like,
Yeah. Just
and
give me the
it's been good.
answer.
It's but it's been good because we also have conversations back and forth. And we have, and we do shoot the shit and we build a
Yeah.
relationship at the same time and we talk about each other's daily lives and stuff like that. And I think, talking about CEO, COO, it's also very important to know that, you have to have a good relationship just
Oh,
outside of work as well. Like we
I
are spending
think
so
it's
much time
first.
together. Yeah. Like we have to be able, like me and you also are, it's not just a work relationship. Me and you can go have a beer at a bar. We can go play golf or something like, and we'll have a
Mhm.
good time and we can talk about life and we can spend time with each other's families, go out to dinner, and have that relationship as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important.
Because it's just a different level of trust, at least that I always, I take that responsibility very seriously. It's like, especially with the CEO of a small business and an entrepreneur, it's like, you built this. This is your absolute baby. And it's like the trust that you have to have with a person to help you take that ride and bring somebody in to help you kind of grow it even further. You have to not only like them like as a friend or trust their work, it has to be, you have to trust who they are as a person. Like you almost have to have a little bit, at least for me, of like, I know how they're going to react to certain things. I know how they're going to probably think about certain things, because then it just makes that trust and that bond even like stronger. And I think that comes from going out and having a beer when I come in town, staying with you and Christy and meeting your kids and like all the company events that we do. I think all of those things play a huge role into the integration. For me, at least, I thought that was a big part on like why it worked so quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just, it also that stemmed from also realizing at the beginning that we did have similar values, that we have, similar visions, that we have, similar leadership styles,
Mm-hmm.
and we have similar family values and things. And realizing that at the beginning also help make the decision that like, hey, this is, this is gonna work out. I have a good feeling about this because if we do need to talk about something, if we do need to have an uncomfortable conversation, we are very open with each other. We're not
Mm-hmm.
sugarcoating things. We know that we're not, like you said, we're not competing. We're just telling each other how it is. It's like I see this, you see that. Like, and it's never, not saying that it won't ever happen, but we never really have had we've had tough conversations about different things, but it's never came from a bad place. It's never
No.
felt bad. We've never had a conversation where we leave like, oh shit, like, see upset with me or nothing. It's just like, no, we're talking things through,
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's never been identify the problem and try to find fault. It's been identify the problem and how do we fix. And I think that's such an important element for any leader is like, no, 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 no. It's not about like, oh, Shane did this wrong or Shane messed this up or Charles messed this up or they didn't tell each other the truth. It's like, whoa, 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 aren't y'all in this together? Like you guys should be able to communicate. We should be able to have tough conversations, but it's never about job security. It's never about because you're doing it wrong. Because then you get a yes man. Because if I feel like I can bring you everything and you're just gonna be like, no, I don't like it, then I'm like, okay, well, to keep my job, I'm just gonna say yes to every idea that comes out of his mouth.
Mhm.
And then I don't necessarily get to be able to express myself to the way that I really feel is contributing to the best part of the business. So that's why I'm here. So if anybody in any leadership role can't feel that, you need to have those tough conversations. It's so important. And I really love those tough conversations because I know that's where the growth happens.
1000%, 1000%, and it goes both ways. Sometimes you bring up
100%.
stuff to me, and I bring stuff up to you,
100%.
and sometimes we get other people involved. If it has to be, talk to
Yeah.
somebody else. So it's a way to do it. And I'm very, one of the things that about me is like speed to action. Like if there's something going on, we're not waiting next week. We're not waiting
No.
until tomorrow. It's like if it needs to be talked about today, we'll talk about it today. We'll make time. If it needs to be done in the next week, we're gonna do it in the next week.
Yeah.
If it needs to be done, right? And we're not gonna wait to have this conversation or talk to the team about this, because if we don't do it now, it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep the problem's gonna continue to happen. So speed to action, speed to communication, clear communication, being open. That has helped us tremendously,
Yeah.
in this
And
first 5 months, and we've done some amazing things. I mean, the second month after you came on board, we had our best month ever, from all the things that we did, from fixing TC, Dispo, acquisitions, all the things that we just did in a short month. We had our best month ever. Our best month, which says a lot about, all the planning and all the things that we did in the first 30 days.
Yeah, I think that, I definitely think that had a huge impact, but again, I can't even start I think I'll take maybe like about 2% credit on that. The foundation that you guys already had, it was just so easy to come in and say, hey, instead of just putting the wrench this way, let's put the wrench this way and see if that works a little bit better. And it did, and it helped so quickly. So it was just like, our team so responsible for those wins, and the foundation that you put forth. It was easy to come in and make an impact. I think sometimes I've talked to some leaders and it's like, I struggled to come in and make an immediate impact because I feel like there was just so much for me to fix. And I felt for me, it was like, I don't necessarily need to fix things. I just get to come in and share ideas on, hey, how do we tweak? How do we fidget with this a little bit to just make the lane run a little bit smoother? And I think that that's just compliment and kudos to what had already been built and the team and kind of the trust that they already had with each other. Because I see that so strongly as the trust that we have, they have at the level below us, and then all the way down to the lowest player. And I don't say anybody's low on our team. Everybody's a contributor. Everybody has such an important role here. So important, but everybody feels that way. Like, I know that everybody trusts everybody.
They do. And everybody, and the type of relationship that we have, me and you have, that we're talking about, like, we have it with everybody else in the team,
Sets the example.
And all our team, everybody, they're all rock stars. Like, I think we have the best acquisition agents, in the game, best disposition agents, best assistants, TCs, quality control. Like, everybody's a rock star, and everybody, we have a great relationship with everybody. Everybody feels comfortable to give feedback, to challenge, the status quo, to feel comfortable, to give suggestions and do all these things. And because the team, because everybody in our team, I think you could agree, like, everybody is in their genius zone. Everybody's doing everybody. They're all rock stars, and then we just empower them and try to remove the constraints to do their jobs, to the best of their capabilities, without any obstacles. It's led to us, like we said, how did we grow? How are we still growing in this market? That's how we're doing it.
Yeah, just give them the tools to be successful and get the hell out of their way. Like, I have said that about my leadership style. Anybody ever ask me that question, that's what it is. It's my job is to get you the right tools to be a rock star at your role and let you be a rock star, right? That's I think that's so important. And I think it's an important lesson that we've learned throughout this process. Really just kind of wrapping up what that kind of looked like at the end. It was like, that's my job. It's like, just give them the right tools and move.
Absolutely. And you've done an amazing job, because everybody feels comfortable. I'm so close with everybody in the team that, I have conversations with them sometimes at 8 in the morning about personal stuff,
Yeah.
about life. Like, and I love that. I love the team. I care about them. Like, the reason why I put on my shoes every morning is, like, I have, like, my why is, like, so fucking strong. Like, it's my family, my kid, my grandma, my mom, my parents, and, like, my team. Like, I got to make sure that my team is fed. I got to make sure that they are doing well. And I wake up every morning with that chip on my shoulder to make sure that everybody's doing well. So when they need me at 8 in the morning to talk about something, I'm there, and I'm happily doing that. And I'm happy that they're open enough to trust me. And you've built that in such short time as well, where people now are doing that with you as well. They obviously do it with Christy and other directors, but, to have that relationship with your team members where they're comfortable enough to come to you, to talk about other stuff outside of work, to help them work through things that, that they need, in life. Because overall, like, I'm here to, yes, we all want to make money and do well, but I want them to feel happy working here. I want them to feel that when they are struggling, they can come to us and talk. And when something happens to them personally, that we're here for them. Like, and truly we are. Like, I truly care about everybody here. I truly care about what's going on with them. And I'll make time for anybody that needs me, if they truly need me. So I think that's super important. I think you've done the same thing, and you're getting that trust from everybody else, because people are coming to you about those things as well.
It comes from a place of help, kind of how I talked about the wholesale industry, right? It's like, it's all about helping our sellers, but it's all about helping the people that are here inside of our doors as well too. If I'm a leader and I'm in charge and I look around at my team, and a year after year after year, if they're not better at, like, and when I say better, they have a growth mindset. They're looking to improve. They've changed certain elements of their life. They're leveling up the way that they want to, not my vision of it, but the way that they want to. That's what I look for as my definition of success as a leader. It's like, if my team members are succeeding both professionally and personally in the way that they want to, then I'm doing a good job, right? And it's not just about the numbers, and it's not just about the KPIs. That's a huge element for me. So if I approach what was already existing in here, which is, hey, I'm just here to help and I actually genuinely care and give a shit about you, I think it just fits so easily. And it's just such a natural part of my personality. But that came from the foundation that was already here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's why you fit in so well with our company, because you know that, not going to sugarcoat it. I am about results. I
Yeah.
want us to
Oh,
hustle. I want
I
us.
know.
We're not mediocre. When
Nope.
mediocrity starts, it's just you see me. You see when it starts happening.
Complacency is not a word.
I start twitching. Like, no, it's like we're not mediocre. We're not going to half-ass
Actually true.
anything.
Like
Yeah,
actual twitch.
I start twitching when I'm like, hell no. Like, we're not, we're
Mhm.
not going to half-ass anything. But at the same time, because we have that attitude, but we come from a place of accountability, love, respect, giving the right feedback. I think people see that and they want to be the best version of themselves because they
Mhm.
see us busting our ass. They see
Mhm.
how much we pour into everybody,
Mhm.
so, and then when we're having a bad week, when we're having a tough month or something, everybody kind of comes together and it's like,
Mhm.
let's fucking do this. Let's level the fuck up and let's go get back to, we know what we do. We are the
Mhm.
best at what we do and we know we could do it. And it's not pointing fingers. It's not anything. Everybody has helped each other. The leaders bust their ass. It's like, I want to do it for them too, you know?
Yeah.
So it's you had that vision as well. You had that
Oh
vision
yeah.
as well coming in.
Yeah. It was so important because if they're not doing well, we're not doing well, right? And it's if I put them first, and I think this comes into the faith and having faith is like it's all about service. It's all about service to others, and it's not about there's that old saying: if I want patience, does God give me patience or the opportunity to be patient, right? And I look at those elements of like I really just want to go out and help people, and I know that by helping others, I'll receive the help that I need in return, and that just is a huge part of the foundation here, and it made it super simple. And I loved coming into an environment like that because a lot of times it's just make money, make money, make money. It's like, no, he's important. And you do Twitch for results. I will tell you, you do Twitch for results. But it's not, if the results didn't come, let's point the fingers on why and let's blame. If the results didn't come, we're all responsible for that. Let's make sure we don't repeat it. And what can we do to go make sure that that doesn't happen? I think that's rare. There's a lot of industries out there where it's just like get the results or you're fired, or get the results or you're this. It's like no. We didn't get them. We can both take responsibility. We didn't get them. Now let's go focus on the opportunity so we don't make that happen again. And
For sure.
that's a cool place to be.
Yeah, yeah. Results is the name of the game, but at the same time is what I always tell everybody when I'm having a one-on-one or I'm talking to the team about. Is like, if we didn't get the result that we wanted, whether it's a contract that we didn't get or something, a deal we didn't sell, something small or something big, it's like the only thing I ask for everybody is that did we throw the kitchen sink at it? If we did everything in our power, if we didn't just throw our hands up and we went until and we still fell short, whatever. That's what I
That
care more
happened.
about, is that we threw the kitchen sink at it. We did everything we could, and if we fell short, we will reassess, reanalyze what needs to be worked on, and we'll.
Mhm.
But that's to me, like, when I start twitching, it's because of that. If I ever start seeing that we didn't throw the kitchen sink, we didn't go
Yeah.
above and beyond, then that's when I start twitching.
Yeah.
Because I know more often than not, if we do that with everything we do, then the results are going to play in our favor. It's a numbers
Mhm.
game. If we put 100% effort into everything we do, sometimes it's going to rain on our parade. It's not going to go our way, but more often than not, it's going to go our way.
Focus on the results, or focus on the activities, and the results will come. That's
No,
that's
exactly,
that's all it is. Just focus on the
exactly.
work, focus on the behaviors, and the results will come. Some days
Yeah,
they'll waver, it'll ebb and flow, but ultimately over a period of time, they will exist.
and everybody's committed, and I think I shot you or I shot the team like a quote that I read, and I'm gonna butcher it, but it was something that stood out to me, like in a book I read. It's like, your lack of commitment and hustle is disrespectful to the people that believe in you. And I
Yeah.
think it.
Was it Conor McGregor that said that? I think so.
Oh, I don't know
I
who
think
said
so.
it,
He
but
might have
I know
quoted it one time on a video or a reel
I
I
think
watched.
I heard it in a
That's
podcast
a
or
great
something.
quote.
But you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like your lack of commitment and hustle, it's disrespectful to the people that believe in you. And I think everybody, like, nobody acts that way, like, because they know that if they're lacking, if they're not, it's like it's disrespectful to the people that believe in you and
Yeah.
pour so much into you.
Yeah. Well, I think Eric Thomas has one similar where it's like, don't be surprised with the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. If I didn't do 100% of the work, why am I expecting 100% of the results? Man, this has been A fucking
Awesome.
blast, dude. I had so much fun doing this.
Absolutely, man. This is awesome. Yeah,
I
went better.
appreciate
Look,
it.
you talked me into doing it. It was awesome.
I'm so glad that I did talk you into doing this, and hopefully now I can talk you into doing more of them, and we can continue this journey. We can get some other people, because it is such a cool story, and I think it's a story that a lot of businesses resonate with, and I think a lot of businesses just kind of want to hear, oh, I'm kind of on the right path. I'm doing things the right way. Oh, they went through those struggles too. That's normal for me to go through those struggles as well. And then we're all just kind of figuring this out together, and I think that's what makes platforms like this just awesome.
For sure, man. And I'll end it with this. See, this usually comes CEO, but you've been here for 5 months. You're
Mm-hmm.
COO.
Mm-hmm.
You've been here. You understand the vision. Like, where do you see us going?
Oh, where do I see us going? I could throw a lot of numbers out, and I don't actually want to define the business that way. About like, oh, we're going to do X amount of revenue or any X amount of things. I know we're probably going to double in our current revenue sizes over the next couple of years. I know that that's going to be something that's really the foundation. Where I see the business truly going is being that master's level education platform for everybody that's inside to change their life. And what I mean by change their life is like, we're going to teach you a skill and you're going to become part of a team that allows for you to create an impact, not only in your own personal life, but one for your family, one for your friends, to chase the goals and the dreams that you really want. We're going to create that platform and that foundation for you to do it. And you're going to want to do it inside those doors. And that's really where I see the vision of the company, is that it's going to be a place that people know, hey, when I go to work here, if I put in the work and I put my head down and I grind and I remain humble and I remain coachable, I'm going to have a very different life in 5 years. And it's going to be because not only of this place, but because of me and what I did inside this place. And I think that's really the ultimate vision for the company for me.
You see, I don't even have to say anything. You said it perfectly. It's awesome, dude.
I appreciate it, brother. We out.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Peace.